Hi everybody, this is Migration Resource Center being live on Facebook with a new educational session related to artist visa. Today we're going to have this presentation together with Tom De Kessel, who's the immigration attorney at the Migration Resource Center. And the goal is to provide the audience on Facebook and beyond with information about what is the artist visa, the eligible criteria for those who are interested in learning more about this available visa for those who would like to immigrate to the United States.
Good morning, this is De Kesel, Tom. I'm one of the attorneys here at Migration Resource Center. I'm going to talk today about the O-1 visa, mainly focus on the O-1B visa for artists. So whenever Victoria is ready.
Okay, just a few introduction parts as well as a disclaimer for those who are watching us or even later, as this video is going to be available on our page later on. The material that is contained in this presentation does not constitute direct legal advice and is for informational and educational purposes only. So an attorney-client relationship is not presumed or intended by receipt or review of this presentation. Okay, and let's go ahead and go more into specifics about who we are, Migration Resource Center. Our mission is to stabilize and create strong neighborhoods by resolving immigration and tax issues with affordable legal services and free educational workshops, something that we do now, free educational activities. We try to do in-person workshops as well once the situation will get a little bit more stabilized with the health, general health and community health. Our focus is to help individuals, families, and businesses to get legal services and information they need to succeed in their communities. We offer immigration, tax, and educational services. This is a list of immigration services that MRC provides, Migration Resource Center provides. It's important to mention that our first consultation, 30 minutes consultation, is a free consultation that allows you as the potential client and the attorney to have a conversation and understand better your needs, what your cases might be about, and what will be the approach to solve that case. So if you'd like to understand more about your immigration situation, feel free to make an appointment with Migration Resource Center for 30 minutes and you'll learn more and understand better and you'll make a decision how you'd like to proceed. This is our tax services as well. Our first consultation is free, 30 minutes. If you need help in understanding your tax situation, from preparing your taxes, or if you have issues with the IRS, again, you can schedule appointments on our website, migrationusa.org. Visit us, Google us, and you'll find all the information about the contact information and appointments, how to schedule them. And as we mentioned, or as I mentioned earlier, our free education services, they happen like this: live Facebooks, live sessions on Facebook, or workshops or trainings. We have done them in person as well before the pandemic. Now we moved more virtually, but we'll return in person once the situation allows us to do that with bigger groups. Okay. The learning objective of today's is to have participants acquire knowledge and skills to understand and navigate the artist visa process, which often also is known as O-1B. And now we're going to get into specifics of this visa. Tom, your floor is yours. Tell us more about visa artist. What does it mean and how we can understand it and how we can use it?
Thank you so much, Victoria. So first, I want to present more the big picture. So under the O1 category, the visa O1 category, it's mainly for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement. Very broad words, but we'll go more in detail if we go through the presentation. As mentioned today, we're only going to focus today on O1B, beneficiaries and the arts. So we're not really going to discuss in detail O-1Bs for motion picture or television. or for beneficiaries in science, education, business, or athletics. If you think you fall in one of the other categories, definitely feel free to reach us out so we can discuss it more in detail, and then we can do an assessment of if you fall in one of those categories or even another category, so you can perceive your goal. So as mentioned before, we're going to look to O-1Bs. So it's an individual with extraordinary ability in the arts. Exactly what it says, that you have to be in the top percentile in your field in your country or in the US or anywhere in the world you are. Okay, so a good item about the O-1B is premium processing is available. That means you don't have to wait a very long time as other applications or petitions are pending before the USCIS. And generally in 15 business days, you should receive a response on the petition. This visa is a non-immigrant visa. Thus, it does not provide you a green card or legal permanent status in the United States, what an EB1 provides. EB1 is a little bit, the criteria is a little bit more in detail and a little bit more specific. But if you think you're maybe falling in the EB1 category instead of the O-1B category, definitely feel free to reach us out. But for this presentation today, will focus on the O-1B.
So who's eligible?
So who's eligible? So generally, if you're extraordinary in the arts, ability in the arts who has been demonstrated by sustained national or international acclaim, achievements that have been recognized in the field through extensive documentation, and you're planning to come to work in the area of the extraordinary ability. So the last part, I think, is if you, let's say you are a artist, a visual artist, you're supposed to keep working in that particular field of work. I will go more in detail in the extraordinary abilities, how we can prove it and how we can show the government that you are eligible for that level.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds a little bit intense, but also interesting. So supporting documentation, what people will need.
So the first step is that you find, you have to file the petition, not you, the beneficiary, the person that wants the petition, but an employer or an agent who is willing to sponsor you. So they file the petition on behalf. It can be also an agent or your employer. And then in addition to that, you need to provide evidence that the visa seeker has been nominated for a significant national or international award. For example, an academic award, an Academy Award, Emmy, Grammys, or Director Guild Award. So those big ones. Even if you have those big ones, maybe you could consider the EB1 path. But some people don't prefer to have a green card and prefer just to have a work visa, a temporary work visa in the United States. If you don't have one of those big national or international acclaimed awards, you can also present 3 of the following forms of evidence we're going to discuss in the next slide. I tried to put them all at once. I know it's very dense and it's very detailed. So if you have any questions about those, feel free to leave it in the comments or feel free to contact us so we can go more in detail how your achievements fit one of those categories. So first, did you ever had a leading or starring participation in a production or event with a distinguished reputation? So that means, what was your role in some big event that fits your criteria? Was that publicized? Was that in the media? Was it live streamed on TV? Was it a live stream on Facebook? That's information we need to find for the first criteria. Once again, if you don't have one of all those, you don't need to have all of them. You only need 3. Another criteria that you can fit in is achieved national or international recognition for achievement. Once again, it goes a little bit hand in hand with the previous one. If you were covered in newspapers or trade journals about your achievements, that's what they're looking for. Number 3, it's a leading starring role in a critical organization. If you have any role that you have maintained a important critical role, so like you were in a in a way of like a C-suite role or a very important role in the organization. It's one of the information required. Recorded of major commercial or critical acclaimed success. Can be box office receipts, how many people saw a particular movie, how many people came to a particular event that is recorded, and then you can show, look, I belong to this higher echelon of people trying to look for a O-1B visa. Any recognition or organization of like experts that can be in a letter of another expert that is aware of your material, is aware of your success, that writes a letter on behalf of you. And then lastly is the show of that you commanded or that you received a high salary in that particular field. That's how they evaluate one of those points. Once again, you only need 3. Some points are intermingled with each other, so you can focus seeing the same. Let's say you were a judge or you're part of a jury. You know, that could be a part of a critical organization. Then it's also was probably covered in the media. So certain aspects can, certain items can be used in different criteria.
So the applicants, those who will like prepare their file, they will choose 3 of these criteria. They can choose whatever 3, or they have to have 2 specifics, and then the third whatever they want, or they just can go and choose 3.
They at least need 3. That means if you have 4 that fit this, perfect. They, you know, the government will also like review those criteria, and maybe they will disagree with what we believe that you fit in that particular criteria. So if you think you fit in 4 or 3 or 4 or 5 criteria, you know, it's perfect. But at least 3. So if you fit in 2, you will probably not meet the bar to achieve the O-1B visa.
Okay. Application process. So how that goes?
So once again, the form that needs to be filed is the petition for a non-immigrant worker. And that petition needs to be filed by a U.S. employer, a U.S. agent, or a foreign employee through a U.S. agent in the U.S. on behalf of you. So in the initial process is that the petitioner is filing, you know, on behalf of you. You are the beneficiary. So the petition will contact with the petitioner, with your agent or your employer, and then we discuss the case. We see like, okay, he's willing to be your employer in the US or your agent. Then we need some basic information about the business side. And then in support of that, we need to file all the supporting documentation to show that you are of extraordinary ability. The petition needs to be filed around 1 year before they need your services. If you don't do premium processing, you know, that's a good ballpark of, you know, you start the process 1 year before. As mentioned before, premium processing is available, which expedites your process immensely.
Mm-hmm. So when we say that the petition has to be filed 1 year before the service starts, to prepare your case is actually before that. You need to do way before that, right? Let's say your starting day is October 6, 2021. So your petition has to be submitted before that. It will be around October 6, 2020, right? Like a year before, and your case.
Correct, because it takes a while. It takes a while for the I-129 to be approved. Of course, it takes also a while to prep the documentation. You know, we'll need to work with you to get certain letters. We have to work with the employer to set up the contract. So there's a lot of documentation, that needs to be collected before we can file. So this 1 year is only like talking about like when the package is ready, when the petition is ready to be filed, to be sent out to the government. Then it could take up a few months. for the government to approval, of course, then you have premium processing. The approval will come a lot faster. Okay, so as mentioned before, a little bit in the previous slide, our application process, we start with an initial consultation. We'll have a discussion with the beneficiary, also with the petitioner, so the employer and you, to see, do you really qualify for the O-1B? We don't want to start the process and then in the end, we see that this is not going to work out, or maybe another category is available. Maybe we believe that you may be eligible for the EB1 category. Okay, then at the second part, we need to have the contract between you, the petition and the beneficiary, the agent or employer, and you as the seeker of the visa. We need itineraries and business information of the employer, how he will employ you, how many hours you will work, where are you going to work, and then we need to provide you the evidence for the O1 items as mentioned before, the documentation, and that could be, that's easily a few hundred pages, a couple hundred pages with all the information included.
Periods of stay extension.
So once you receive, once the petition is approved, and let's assume you are abroad in a foreign country, you have to go to through the national visa consul process. So you have to go to the consulate to obtain the visa. So the initial stay is 3 years. So you will get a visa that is valid for 3 years to stay here in the US and to work in the US. You can leave and travel outside the US as long as your visa is available. And if you are married or have a spouse, you and your children under the age of 21 may join you to come to the United States. After the 3 years is over, you can always request an extension for 1 year. It's in 1 year sections, so we cannot ask an extension for 2 or 3 years. It's in 1 year sections, but you can extend it on a yearly basis. So you can continue to stay and work in the United States.
So once the extension, you extend it for 1 year, after that you can extend it again and keep extending it?
That is correct. Of course, if you're already at, at the top of your extraordinary abilities, maybe you can also then consider after a couple more years, maybe you do a EB1. So it gives you the path to the green card. Then you don't have to do that extension. Then you have your legal permanent residency.
But if you don't do the extension, then after 3 years, once your visa expires, you have to leave the United States.
Correct. You have to return to your home country as it's a non-immigrant visa.
Well, thank you, Tom, for your brief and important information about the O-1B visa. Why is known oftentimes as the artist visa? Is it because most of the people that apply for this type of visa, they come from the arts background, they have those extraordinary ability in the arts industry, or just common knowledge, it became the artist visa?
I think it's one of those categories. I don't know exactly how many visas are being given to O-1Bs or O-1A. So we use it mainly as an artist visa because it gives a way for a lot of artists to bring their work to the United States, to work here, to excel in what they do.
Great. Well, I hope those who had the chance to watch live, it was useful. This video is going to be available later on our page as well. In case you want to get in touch with Migration Resource Center, our physical location is on Staten Island at the 36 Richmond Terrace, 3rd floor. On the screen, you can see the phone numbers where you can reach us accordingly to the services that you're interested in, immigration or tax, or write to us via email at info@migrationusa.org. The initial consultations, you can schedule them through our website, www.migrationusa.org. We also provide video consultations. Due to the pandemic, we adjusted very well with the virtual world. So if you don't want to visit the physical office and have an in-person conversation, we can definitely arrange a video conversation, either an initial consultation or a follow-up consultation if you become a client, to stay in touch with the attorney regarding your case. We're very proud in taking part with technology and doing that virtually and accommodate any needs. So we hope this was useful. Let me stop sharing the screen.
If you have any questions, I think it's very detailed. It's very, it could be overwhelming, but we're here to help, to go step by step through the process. So if you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to reach us out, or any other immigration concerns. Feel free to reach us out and make an appointment, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Great. On that note, we'll end this live session. Thank you to all those who watched us now or will watch later. We'll be back maybe in every other 2 weeks or something, organizing this live session. So feel free to follow Migration Resource Center on Facebook so you can get the notifications when the sessions take place. So you can learn and be informed, because knowledge is power. So thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.